Donald Trump, I feel quite confident. There is very little that he has signed off on over the past 2 or 3 days now. And I would even argue, if you include the vast majority of his nominees, where he would be able to articulate the foundations for those decisions beyond a 90-second conversation. I mean, I say that with, it's obviously speculation, but with a large amount of confidence. I don't think he gives a hoot about any of it, honestly. And I think he likes the idea of, like, I'm going to get things done, put stuff on my desk, I will sign it. This is exactly what was prescribed by Grover Norquist. And it's exactly what we're getting. In fact, should we play that? Yeah. Matt, I'm going to IM it to you. This was Grover Norquist. This is in 2012. And, this was totally predictable. This was totally predictable. One would have to be a fool to have assumed. I mean, to assume that Donald Trump, like, we don't really know who he is or blah, blah. He's a lunatic. And I think, we're seeing this from just the leaks that are going on already in day 3 of his administration, which is just absurd in and of itself. But he's a lunatic who does not have a deep understanding or, frankly, care about politics. Certainly not policy. I mean, I think he likes the showmanship of it, and I think he's probably thinks a lot about what makes him look good in the same way that you would run a marketing campaign. But when it comes to the actual governance, I don't think he really cares about how they get there. I think he just needs to hear from somebody that it's going to work. I mean,
that it makes him look strong.
Well, yes. I mean, but I think just signing stuff makes him look strong. I'm getting it done. I mean, my direct experience with someone who was this crazy was with Gary Busey, who was completely insane. And I was directing a show of his. On day 1, we show up at some place in Taos, New Mexico. Show's out of L.A. We had traveled there to do some type of 2-part episode on his fake reality show. And the AD comes in, and I had met Gary once before, but this is the first time I was talking to him on the set. And the AD says, Gary refuses to shoot in that field. And I'm like, why? And he goes, just because he doesn't think it's right. And I just walk out there and I'm like, Gary, this is amazing, right? I mean, this is one of the few places within 700 miles where they can grow organic garlic. And the Indians say it's because of that vortex coming out of the mountain. He's like, absolutely. That's exactly why we got to shoot here. He didn't give a crap. He just wanted someone to tell him this is the thing to do, and he could just sign off on it. Here's Grover Norquist in 2012. Basically, and the reason why I say that Ted Cruz probably would be not as bad is because Ted Cruz would be constrained. Because Ted Cruz would understand, like, I'm on the hook for this stuff, and he would have an understanding of what he was signing. Donald Trump has no idea what he's signing. And everybody in Congress is like, he's our lightning rod. Here's Grover Norquist.
All we have to do is replace Obama. Second, we are not auditioning for fearless leader. We just need a president to sign this stuff. We don't need someone to think it up. or design it. Pick a Republican with enough working digits to handle a pen to become president of the United States.
That's it. That's what they got. And last night I went in to do Chris Hayes' show, and on the feed on MSNBC, they're talking about how the president doesn't like Sean Spicer's suits. I was like, you got to be kidding me. Terrible suits.
They don't fit him well.
There's plenty of stories out there. But this is Sopranos, right? Tony Soprano was like, I'm not going to be the leader. I'll have my Uncle Junior be the leader.
Uncle Junior, although frankly, Uncle Junior, for all of his limitations, had a much better sense of leadership and responsibility than Donald Trump.
This is even better than Grover Norquist. Imagine, because Grover Norquist is like, he's not going to have to be fearless. He's not going to have to think this stuff up. He's not going to have to. He couldn't have ever imagined that Grover Norquist would be lucky enough to get a president who would have no idea what he's signing and absolutely no interest in it whatsoever. He just wants that picture of him holding up the proclamation, right?
What about also delusional and mentally ill? How about that too, Grover?
You know what? That's even better, because like we read from Robert Reich's conversation with his buddy the other day, this is going to give them an excuse to jettison him when he starts becoming toxic for the Republicans, or starts to think like, hey, wait a second, I need to do X, Y, or Z. So this is where we're at now. And honestly, this was terribly predictable, because politicians are politicians. There is no Bulworth out there. And they know where their power base is. Their power base is what got them into office. And Donald Trump, the best play for him is going to be do exactly what the Republicans want. And when we go through the list of stuff we're going to talk about today, Donald Trump's first thought when he got into office was like, I've got to do a gag order on all the agencies so I can shut down their what they're. I mean, they didn't even know what the agencies were. Hey, it's Sam Seder. Why don't you subscribe to this channel? You can do so right over here. Over. Subscribe.